I don't know where to start, to be honest. A lot has happened since my last report. We're all hoping that you in the Milky Way are alright and that we hear from you soon. Truth is, I hope really soon. When I agreed to this mission, I didn't know the weight that would be thrust upon me. As mission lead, my orders were to simply scout out the Canis Major Dwarf Galaxy, and if found to contain dilithium, establish a colony and outpost here, with Starfleet Command to send backup for this mission. Of course, with the sudden break in communications with you, and no hope of entering back into the Milky Way, the Canis Major Dwarf Galaxy has now become something so much more. Our future. And even though it might not be in the best tradition of a Starfleet captain, this scares me. 2 weeks ago, while conducting a routine mapping mission of one of our surrounding star systems, System ZX-3207, the USS Matthew Decker discovered an ancient starship of unknown origin. Sending over an away team, the Matthew Decker's science officer, Lieutenant Commander Genevieve Vandora, began to access that starship's systems to get a better idea of what they were dealing with. This ship was old, and when I say old, I don't mean decades or centuries old, but this starship was at least 100,000 years old. Reporting back to us, I made the decision to head immediately to their position to aid in securing the ship for future research. Meanwhile, beginning to download and transmit the information contained within the memory banks of that old starship back to the Matthew Decker, somehow triggered a security alert, which we also know now activated some type of ancient AI for the starship itself, and subsequently the starship attacked the Matthew Decker with some type of weapon that shut down all the Decker's power systems, shields, weapons, even life support. Vandora discovered that whatever the weapon was that was used against the Decker was part of a two-pronged attack program. First disable the enemy vessel, and then destroy it after conducting extensive sensor scans of the target, probably to gather intel on the proposed enemy. That would buy the Matthew Decker less than 5 minutes before it would be destroyed. With no power and transporters down, there was no way to retrieve the away team, let alone defend the ship or escape another attack. Luckily, whatever the energy shutdown weapon was, it only worked on active power systems, which meant that the shuttlecraft aboard the Matthew Decker were still operational. Able to re-establish communications with the Decker, Vandora had the ship launch a shuttle to retrieve the away team, while Vandora attempted to deactivate the starship's weapon systems, but all to no avail. In less than 1 minute, this alien starship would fire its weapons, and the Matthew Decker would be destroyed. With no option, Vandora sent the away team back to the shuttle, while he himself remained on board the ship, with only one task in mind: to destroy it before it was too late. And setting his phaser to overload, he was able to do just that, successfully destroying the vessel and saving the Matthew Decker. His honorable sacrifice let the almost 3,000 people on board the Decker survive, and if only that was the end of the story. My ship, the James T. Kirk, arrived at the Decker's position the exact moment the alien ship exploded. Somehow, the ship irradiated temporal waves when it blew up, and every member on board both the Matthew Decker and the James T. Kirk, for an instant, experienced another moment in time. The experience was different for everyone. Some people were transported to the past, experiencing various points throughout their lives, while others were transported to the future, experiencing events which had not taken place yet. The experience lasted only a short while, but many of us witnessed firsthand a horrific future. I've ordered all crew members on board both starships to make a record of what they experienced, whether it was past or future, and I've appended that report to this transmission for your review, should you ever receive this message. My experience, however, was unsettling to say the least. I was transported about 5 years into the future, where I met myself, my battle-worn self. My future self knew that I would be arriving and immediately warned me to start preparations for a great war that was coming and to develop less ionic radiation-based weapons immediately, something he wished he had done when he had traveled to the future. And then he let me see outside of his bunker and showed me the beachhead colony, which was on fire. Claiming his counterpart never showed him that vista, and that he hoped this would change everything. And then, before I knew it, I was back on the James T. Kirk's bridge. We helped restore the power systems of the Matthew Decker, and we both returned to Beachhead. The Temporal Prime Directive is clear on this issue, that I'm not supposed to interfere with the events in history, that by all accounts, I'm supposed to ignore what I saw and simply allow these events to happen. And it's my belief that that future version of myself did that just like a happy Starfleet officer, and look what it got him. I can't allow that future to happen, and if that means that at some future date you put me on trial for temporal violations, well, I welcome it. But for now, I've ordered our scientific teams to begin researching less ionic radiation-based weapons and defenses against the weaponry that was used by the alien starship against the Decker. I've also stepped up construction on Starbase CM01, the outer defense turrets, and a specially designed starship construction yard, which will utilize materials from this star system to build us some more starships. I've put together a special starship design team to create starship designs that can be built here without the resources of the Milky Way Starfleet. I'm also instituting mandatory tactical training for all personnel involved in this mission. The ambassadors and their teams don't much care for that, but begrudgingly are going to support the initiative. Bureaucrats. In the meantime, teams are poring over the data that was able to be downloaded by Lieutenant Commander Vandora before the ship's destruction. And I've ordered a special ceremony to take place in his honor in 3 days. Starfleet Command, if you're reading this, we need you. We need a boost in morale now more than ever. Our entire future could depend on it. Our entire future could depend on it.
USS James T. Kirk, come in. USS James T. Kirk, are you reading this? If you are receiving this transmission, this is the USS Typhus Freedom, Captain Anton commanding. Like you, we've been trapped on the other side of the galactic barrier. No hope of re-entering the Milky Way. We've put out a call to all starships in similar situations to rendezvous here at the Milky Way Midas Array in System 7849YR. So far, 8 Starfleet, 2 Navarian, 1 Ferengi, 1 Hydrogen, and 2 Klingon starships have responded and are approaching our position. If you are receiving this transmission, it's our intention to head to your position as soon as possible. We should rendezvous with you in about a month's time. USS James T. Kirk, are you reading this? Repeat, are you receiving this transmission?